Hi guys, I'm Jim and this is J&R Woodworking. I'm working on the deck in the back of my house and I planned on just stripping the decking off the top and redecking it. It was getting pretty bad. But the more I take off, the worse it gets. If you're in the market to build a deck or if you're going to work on an existing one, let me show you some things not to do and some things to look for if you have a deck. The deck was built and the house was built by a licensed contractor. Well, if you're looking to hire someone, don't hire them just because they're licensed. The man that built this house should have been shot. I can't tell you all the things he did wrong that we've been fixing since we bought the house. Get some references. Ask him where he's worked before. Go talk to the people. Knock on their door. Somebody came and knocked on my door, I'd be more than happy to tell them what kind of job he did. But let's go out and I'll show you the deck. I'll show you the problems and what you can do to eliminate them on the deck that you want to build or the one you're fixing. Let's go outside. Okay, this is a deck that I've stripped the tarp off. I took the posts and handrails down and we're going to redeck it. This part over here, he also had a deck built, but he built it right on the ground level and air could not get under it and it rotted out really bad. There was spots you could fall right through the deck. But the big issue I have with this one, let me take you down and I'll show you. Okay, we're underneath the deck. As you can see, the joist hangers are rusted really bad to the point of, let me move this, it's going to wiggle. If you can see this, this part is gone. There's nothing there. This you can bend. It's not holding the joist much anymore. This one over here is totally gone. It's not holding anything. It's rusted so bad you can rip it right off. Now the reason that happened, they decked this on a 45-degree angle. They didn't put, let me move this back again. They didn't deck the top running in one direction or the other with the house. They wanted the boards on a 45. I've got this one setting up there. Just imagine that the end of that is cut on a 45 and it's up against your ledger board. Now, that's got to have something to sit on. Or if you step on it, it would flex down. So what he did is he had these boards in here. He had them nailed in for that board to sit on. But he had them nailed tight against the ledger board, which totally encased the joist hangers. They couldn't dry out, so they just totally rusted away. Another issue he didn't do, when he built the deck, when I resided the house, I put this board up here. I held the siding up off of the deck about 3 inches. So when I swept the deck with the push broom, you wouldn't be banging into the siding all the time. I put this flashing on. What he should have done when he built the deck, the flashing should have been underneath the siding. It should have came down to the top of the joists and came out even a foot and then decked over top of it. These boards, the spacers he put in, should have been held back away from your ledger board a couple inches. That way these could have dried out every time they got wet. And if this is 2 inches away from the wall, you're not going to step on that decking board and bend it. Just a few small mistakes that adds up to huge problems. Let me move you down here. As you can see, I'm taking them off one at a time and replacing them with brand new joist hangers. I've got a ways to go. Let me show you another major problem. Now this is the front of the deck, I guess, or the back, depending on how you want to look at it. But right in this area, it appears that the deck is sagging almost 2 inches. Well, if you look a little closer, it's not that the deck is sagging at that point. Let me bend this down. It's at this corner over here moved up 2.5 inches because of that. Now, who would build a house and leave an oak tree of that size that close to the house? When he built the deck, he put in pretty good footings. I mean, as footing go, I would say them are massive. He did a good job on that. They're elevated off of the cement by a steel bracket, and they can dry good underneath, so none of these posts are rotten. They're all in really good shape. It's just that this tree has lifted that about 1.75 inches, and it's also shoved it over about 1.5 inches. So to repair this, I'm going to have to replace this main beam up here, because over the last 18 years it has been lifted. If I cut this post off, up here about 1.5 inches and try to get this to drop down, it's not going to move. That beam has been bent and under stress for a long time. If you look real close at this gap, you'll see there isn't one. That's how much pressure is pushing up on the bottom of the deck. Now if you look over here, see this big crack? That is from the post being lifted away from that, from the support post. I might be able to get away with it if right here above this bolt I make a saw cut down to the top of that bracket that may relieve enough stress to allow this beam to come down once I cut this post off. But to get this back into plumb, I'm going to have to pull this bolt out and move it over about 1.5 inches and set the deck back on top of it. So there's a lot of little problems that's adding up to a major pain in the butt to try and just put a deck back on the top of this thing. So if you want to build a deck, there's a lot of magazines and books out there at your home improvement stores that will give you a lot of information on how to do it right. On the most part, this is supported good. It's got a lot of good bracing. I like the footings he's put in. He just didn't think ahead. This tree should have been cut down before they built a house. So I'm going to have little segments now and then as I do this deck to just give you some ideas and tips if you're going to build one. If not, well, maybe it'll just be comical to watch. Who knows? But I got to get busy and replace all these joist hangers. Some of the joists are rotted because they were wet for so long. I've got to pull them out, replace them, And once I start decking, I'll show you how that's going. So in the meantime, work safe, have fun, and we'll talk to you soon.